Greetings fellow traders, this is Max and welcome to my Sunday market analysis where I'm going to analyze the market and share with you my top trades for the upcoming week. As you can see, this week I have 5 pairs on my list with very interesting trade setups and I am really excited to share those setups with you now. Last week the market didn't give me many nice trade setups and setups that I could work with my strategy and implement a really great entry and a hopefully successful trade. But this week it's different and it's even the beginning of a new month, so it will be worth looking at the monthly chart as well. Towards the end of the video we will have a look at a pair from last week, which is NZD-JPY. It's not featured in this week's list and we're gonna have a look at this pair and see how it has performed. So stay tuned for that. Now without further ado, let's start with the pair AUD-JPY. So AUD-JPY is right now for me in an uptrend and that's fairly clear. You can see we're creating new highs, higher lows, again a new high, a higher low, and again a new high, higher low, and now we are pushing into a new high. So my plan is to wait for the price to have a retracement now after it broke out of this area of interest and the round psychological level, which is the 99.5 round psychological level. I want to wait for price to retrace back into the zone and retest it, give me a short liquidity sweep here below the area, a shifter structure, my entry signal, and then I am interested in opening a long position here to profit off of a potential continuation to the upside. Now what's important to note here is that the weekly candlestick is currently, if you want to create some kind of channel here or upper trend line, is currently hitting this trend line, which makes sense because I am expecting a correction now back into the zone, testing it. So maybe it will align with a lower trend line here, depending on what you connect, either the body of the candles or the wicks of the candles. But for the body of the candles, that retracement would be relatively high, at least for the coming week, or in some future weeks to come there might be the retracement down into the zone to retest this area here. So it might take some time and it may not give me my entry signal in this week, but I will have a look at the pair and see if the price is coming down to or into this area again, then give me my entry signal, and then I'm definitely considering a long position here on AUD-JPY. And as I said, it's worth looking at the monthly chart. We can see the recent month closed as a really big green candle. So in the new month I'm expecting a retracement down into the area or a wick down of the coming monthly candlestick before it hopefully continues to the upside. Now let's go to the next pair, which is CADCHF. And a CHF pair hasn't been on my list for quite a long time now. So let's have a look at the lower time frame and see what this pair is giving me that I put it on a list. So what we can see here is an area of interest, an area where the price has reacted to and was once support. Then it looked like it became resistance, just pushed through this level violently, and it's even a round psychological level, the 0.57 round psychological level. So now I am waiting for price after it broke out of this level. I'm waiting for it to have a retracement back into the zone, small liquidity sweep, my entry signal, and then I want to open a long position here on CADCHF to profit off of a potential continuation to the upside. This might take a couple days, so it's important to stay patient here. And even on the weekly chart, you can see that this is a really strong green weekly candlestick. So it's important for me now to wait for a clear entry signal and kind of a higher low, if you will, for this potential inverse head and shoulders pattern here. So you have the left shoulder, the head, and a potential right shoulder, which would then be the retest here of this area. And an inverse head and shoulders in this downtrend is definitely a bullish signal and a reversal signal. So it's indicating that the price might actually continue higher now and reverse. And that's why I am looking for a long opportunity here if the price is coming down into the area. Again, as I said, this might take a couple days, and again, it's worth looking at the monthly chart. And you can see here that this monthly chart closed as some kind of, I would call it almost a neutral candle, but it's more like some kind of hammer candle. If you invert the chart, it's kind of like an inverse hammer candle. But just like that, it might actually have in the coming month the wick down then and a big green monthly candlestick might create some kind of morning star formation here on this chart. And the wick down of the new month would be my retest, so that would totally add up together. So I'm waiting for price to come back into the area and then enter at the higher low or the right or left shoulder of this potential inverse head and shoulders pattern on CADCHF to profit with a long position. We've been in a really long downtrend here so far, so maybe this is actually the part or the point where it will reverse a bit, and I do not even have to hold this position for quite some time. The recent in the support or in the downtrend, the recent support or resistance area would be a really nice sufficient profit target for me, and depending on the entry and depending on the profit target, this could absolutely be maybe some kind of 1:4 risk reward ratio even, or a 1:3, or even just a really good 1:2 risk reward ratio. So let's go to the next pair, which is EURGBP, and EURGBP is also in a really strong uptrend. You can see we are creating new highs here, and recently we have reached this weekly area of interest here with a round psychological level, the 0.875 round psychological level. And as you can see, the price broke out of this zone here and the weekly closed with a really nice wick. So what those wicks are indicating, especially if the price is closing above resistance area and in the expectation that it will turn into support now, this wick is very likely to get filled in the coming week, at least from what I could observe in the market and learn from it. So I'm waiting now, especially on the lower time frame, for the daily candlesticks after this evening star formation here. I'm expecting price to come back into the zone, liquidity sweep again below the zone as always, then wait for the entry signal, and then I want to open a long position here on EURGBP to profit off of a potential continuation to the upside. And again, checking the monthly chart is really worth it. We have closed as a green month, and now a wick down of the coming month would totally add up here. That would be also the wick down on, or the potential wick down here on the newly forming weekly candlestick, retesting the zone, and then this can be my chance to enter that position and then profit off of a rising price. So this is what I'm looking for here on EURGBP. Important to be patient, watch the market, do not rush it. Maybe this is just a huge fake out and the price will violently reverse. That can definitely happen, which is why it's important to be patient. Now the next pair, GBPCAD. And GBPCAD is a trade that I really rarely take, and it's not really a preferred trade, but something that I want to try here and that I think has a good chance of success in the proper context. So first of all, what you can see is we are in an uptrend. We are only creating new highs, higher lows on the weekly chart, and it's amazing. That has been going on since September 2022. And now I want to hop in on this uptrend here, this big uptrend. And what you can see on the weekly and what you can observe is we have the 50 EMA here, and the recent weekly candlestick that closed red seems to have rejected this 50 EMA and has reacted to it, indicating that this trend could continue to the upside. Now, if you go to the daily chart, you can see a morning star formation here on the daily chart in an area of interest where the price has reacted to a round psychological level, the 1.84 round psychological level. So we have so many factors in confluence right now, and this is a bullish signal. So my ideal entry would be, especially during the coming weekly candlestick that's forming, I want to see again a wick down, which will be on the weekly, on the daily chart, on the lower time frame. I want to see, or I want it to give me my clear entry signal. Now the really lower time frame here, the 4 hour and 2 hour, does not look really bullish so far. So the safest entry for me would be, as you can see, we have a small resistance area forming. I want to see a break, a small retest, and then enter on that retest. Enter the long position to then profit off of a rising price with the first profit zone. Yeah, maybe this one here, why not? I mean, that could be still a really nice 1-to-3 risk reward ratio, potentially, depending on where the retest is going to be and where I'm going to put my stop loss at 1 to 2.5. Absolutely fine. If that works, maybe we will have even a break, we'll even have the breakout, but this is not something I will gamble now. So that's the entry to look for on a lower time frame. On the higher, I want to have kind of the wick down, clearing some more liquidity. Maybe it's even going to be a really strong wick down again, and then this coming daily candlestick is going to close very neutrally, and if that happens, then this is a really nice and clear indication for me that we will see a rising price. So the monthly candlesticks are not saying much. It has been ranging quite a lot here. The month has closed red. So if you look here, whenever there was, except for here or in this area, yeah, so some really small monthly candlesticks. Whenever there was a big red close, you had a green monthly candlestick as the next one. So maybe this is going to happen here as well. Wick down, and then the next month is going to close as a green candle. And hopefully I can profit off of this green candle close with a long position here. So the next pair, and already last pair for this week's list, is USDCAD. And if you remember, USDCAD has been on last week's list as well. So I was waiting for it to come back into the zone, close neutrally here, and then I wanted to see my shifter structure, and that would be the entry signal to open a long position here. So as you can see, it has closed and created a really nice morning star here, sweeping the liquidity, rejecting the 50 EMA, all really nice indicators in confluence. And what you see here is the price actually continued higher. Well, I did not get the chance to enter properly here, and the reason for that is that the price was below the round psychological level here and still kind of below the area of interest. It had swept the liquidity and created an inverse head and shoulders pattern on a lower time frame. But I only wanted to enter if it retested the neckline of the small head and shoulders pattern here, which it hasn't done so far, which is why I never really got a really clear and clean entry signal. So what I'm hoping now for, or what I'm looking for, is I want to see the price come back into the zone, have the actual retest, maybe another liquidity sweep, and then continue to the upside. I just want to see if in the coming week, if it's going to give me a new entry chance here. If it doesn't, then I will just skip this trade, because the weekly chart even has closed very, very neutrally. I do not like those two neutral closes. Maybe the next one is going to be red and then we have a green one. I've seen that a couple times, so we will see about that. And the monthly candlestick even closed as a green one. I want to see the wick down in the coming monthly candlestick forming, which would be the new retest. The wick down in a new form, in a new monthly candlestick forming, and then price will hopefully continue to the upside and I can profit off of that. But it's important to be patient here. I do not want to jump into the trade too early. So I'm just patiently waiting for it to create a new clear higher low here, so that I then can confidently open a long position. And that's already it for this week's list. Now let's have a look at the pair from last week, which is not part of this list, and that is NZD/JPY. So the plan here on NZD/JPY, we go to the daily chart. I wanted to see it go back into the zone, the area of interest, the round psychological level 87, round psychological level. I wanted to see the retest here, sweeping the liquidity, shifter structure, and then the price will continue higher and I could profit off of that. It has not happened so far. As you can see, it just continued to the upside without retesting the area. This could happen now, absolutely, and I've set an alarm there, so whenever the price comes back into the zone, I'm ready to have a look at the pair again. It's just not part of this week's list because this is not one of my top trades. It looks like it is gone and it has reached into the next area of interest here, but if it comes back into the zone and it's giving me the entry signal that I'm looking for, then I will make a decision on whether I want to participate in this trade now or not. As of right now, I've just marked it with my yellow marker to identify the pair from last week. And that's already it for this week's Sunday market analysis. Of course, I've analyzed the other pairs as well, but I did not find any great trade setups. I've set price alarms, and if any of those alarms is getting triggered, I will have a look at the respective pair again and then make a decision on whether there's a good trade for me or not. If you want to get notified whenever that happens, and if you want to receive regular trade updates on my running trades and see whenever I open or close a position, then you can just join my free Telegram channel. I will put the link to it into the video description. You'll also find a link to my other socials there. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments below and I will try to answer your questions. Thank you for watching. I wish you a successful trading week. Remember to manage your risk properly and see you next Sunday.